Fire away.
Matt, just the first half turnovers, and
Yeah.
is that where the game just kind of got away?
Yeah, no question. That and the free throws, and then those late turnovers. You know, we actually did a pretty good job in the second half of not turning over until the end. You know, we had three, costly turnovers there at the end and where we needed to get, a crack at it. But we really talked about how they pressured and got into you last year here. We had 10 turnovers in the first half here last year. Then we came back and actually took the lead in the game, and then they made that shot at the end. But we just said, we can't repeat that. Let somebody beat you a different way. Keep giving yourselves a chance and take care of the basketball. And so when you have 11 turnovers in the first half, and the game before you had 7 for the whole game, it just hurts you. But our guys were resilient. They battled back, but not good enough. Not making our free throws, turning the basketball over. You out-rebound somebody by 16, and you got somebody who gets 33 and 18, you should win the game. That should have been ours. But give them credit. They made more plays than we did down the stretch.
Matt, on the topic of those turnovers, is there anything particular you can attribute those to? Any common thread?
Yeah, not concentrating and not being tough, if you're generally speaking. I can go through all 11 if you want me to. Watching film, like when you watch film with guys, it's all, you got an offensive foul in the post on one of them, like you got a careless pass on another one, Their activity was good. So a lot of times, you guys always ask questions. I can only give it from my perspective. So to me, it's Purdue, right? But it could have been great defense by Indiana. But each possession is different. When you talk about missed free throws, you're talking about a free throw. It's the same thing all the way through, right? And each free throw is the same, 15 feet, no one's guarding you, all right? But turnovers are different. Some can be travels, some can be double dribbles, But the pick sixes kill you. And they just kept getting in transition. And it happened last year. Trace got in foul trouble last year in the first half, and they just kept playing in transition. So not to say that they can't play in the half court because they really shot the ball well in the first half. You would just prefer someone to go against a set defense instead of a continuous 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 or a 4-on-2, any type of a primary break.
Why do you think Braden had such a tough time?
It's just concentration. Obviously a good player, made a lot of good reads, did a lot of good things. But he only had one turnover, 6 points, 6 assists, 1 turnover, 3 steals. But he just didn't get going shooting the basketball. He's our best free throw shooter. He went 2 for 4. So, but he's a good player. We're gonna keep him.
Hey, Matt, talk about Trace. You recruited Trace. You've seen him kind of grow.
Trace is fabulous. Just a great person. Great player. We were on him early and put a lot of time into him, and obviously he chose to come here, and that's his choice. But he's fabulous, man. He's added more pieces to his game. His decision making when he first started, when you doubled him, was just okay, and now he's gotten where he's really good. But tonight he was physical. When he made moves and he did stuff, our guys were bouncing off of him. I mean, it was impressive. He made a couple spin moves and the dunks, and he's got a bright future. There's some really, really intelligent NBA people out there that understand that. So you can look at those mock drafts or whatever, but he's going to spend a long time in the NBA. He's fabulous, and he's a super, super person. When Caleb Swanigan passed away, he reached out to me and sent me a text, and it just kind of shows you, what's inside of him.
Thanks, Matt.
Now, the turnovers in the first half obviously were huge, but you had 3 one-possession games and turned the ball over, down 1, down 2, and down 3 in the final 4 minutes.
No doubt.
How big of backbreakers were those that,
Yeah.
if you score there, maybe it's a completely different outcome?
Yeah, no question. Because if you can flip that a little bit and tie it or take the lead, it's just a different feeling. You're up 15. I think the most they were up in the first half was 16. I thought it was a little bit more. And so now it's really hard to overcome that when you kind of look, the air kind of goes out of you and things get quiet in your own arena, because now you're going to let that lead get away, which happens a lot in basketball, right? And so that was a crucial time. And I feel for our guys, just a couple careless plays that we'd like to have back. But one of the plays where the turnover was my fault. I should have got a timeout. I just kept thinking, Zach, we had him a couple times and their pressure took it away, and I should have got one. And so out of those 3 turnovers, I got to take one of those.
What changed in the second half early to cut the lead?
Yeah, well, when it first started, we were scoring, but they were scoring too. And then we made a little bit of a surge right before that timeout where we cut it from 15 to 9, and then when it went from 16 to 12, it stayed at 9. And that's what we really talked about in there, like, hey, you got to chip it away. You can't trade baskets with them at this point. Like, you got to be able to get stops and do some different things. And, we were going to establish Zach. We were going to go to him. Like, we didn't think they had an answer, for him. We wanted to go right to him. They were just fouling him and grabbing him and holding him. And it's hard. It's hard for those officials. They can't call every single one of them. I like to tell them that I think they can. And so like that's all we were trying to do. But with that, when they overdo things and they double, you got to make some shots. Brandon Newman made one, David Jenkins made a couple, Caleb made one in the first half, Mace made one there in the second half. But we're a better shooting team than 6 for 18. We're a better shooting team than 10 for 17. They didn't guard us at the free throw line, right? They might have guarded our threes, but they didn't guard you can't guard people at the free throw line. So just, one of those games, but when you get those kind of opportunities and you got a guy that's, going to the well like that and they can't stop him, that's the great balance when you can make those threes along with what he was doing.
What's the most important thing they can take from this game they should learn from?
That Purdue game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just concentrate. Be tougher mentally in that first half and take care of the basketball. I told our guys afterwards, like, nobody tries to miss a three. Nobody tries to miss a free throw. Like, I've never been upset. I've been upset with a bad shot. But, like, hey, you got to concentrate and do your job defensively, and you got to take care of the basketball. I thought our concentration wasn't very good. And like I said earlier, you got to give Indiana a lot of credit for that because they took us out of our rhythm.
How much did the 2 early fouls on defense disrupt what you wanted to do defensively out on the perimeter?
I don't think a whole lot. I thought David Jenkins gave us some good minutes. I thought Brandon Newman did some good things when they subbed in. Yeah, I don't think that was that much of a deal. He was scoring on anybody. It's one of those things where I thought Indiana shot well from the perimeter. It just seemed in my mind, like, God dang, like, how many threes they're going to hit? He hit 4 threes. It's not very many. Then, but the Hood Shafino, making those pull-ups, and then you look at it and he's 8 for 15. Like, in my mind, he was 13 for 15. But he's a good player, and he's got a bright future.
Man, giving up 50 points in the first half.
Yeah.
What's that reflect?
Yeah, just a lot of what I said. Like, you got to give Indiana credit for it, but just when you're giving up 50 points, they were playing in transition so much. And now make them score against us in the half court. Even though Trace was kind of finding his way and doing some things, keep making them do that. So now when you let them have some offensive rebounds, now you let them have some transition, now they're having success shooting the basketball, they got a little bit of everything. And we haven't allowed 71 points all year, and so to give up 50 in one half, and we've been in some hornet's nest. We've been on the road and played at some real tough places, Ohio State, Michigan State. In my mind, I've always felt this way. This is the toughest place, even though we've had some success. But yeah, just the combination of all that. And then we did some good things and then just missed free throws. So now all of a sudden, you're in a stretch where you're 1 for 5, 1 for 6, with one of them being a front end. So you don't feel like you're doing good things when you miss your free throws too. A lot of that just kind of compounded itself.
Coach, you're going to see him again in 3 weeks. What are you going to take from this game when you prepare for that game?
Not to turn the ball over, more than anything. And that's what we took last year from it. We were hoping to get it physical in practice and really foul each other in practice and just make it impossible, whatever. But that didn't work. I think it's the combination of their approach and also the environment that sometimes, guys get emotionally drunk and lose it. But you got to give them credit, man. They do a good job of pressuring, and it's hard. Who cares? Who cares what's going on out there? You know what I mean? Handle it. Don't worry about it. It's just a basketball game. If it gets physical, it gets physical. You got to be able to play. If they start calling things close, you got to adjust and be able to play. That's just part of it. We didn't do that. It took us until halftime to recalibrate and kind of get ourselves in a position where now we can focus. But then when we go to Zach and we make some perimeter shots, the defense gets better sometimes when the offense, flows, and you can't do that. You know what I mean? You can always rebound, you can always take care of the ball, you can always make your free throws, those things there. And so we'll go back and watch the tape, and one of the dumbest things in the world is getting interviewed after a game before you watch tape. I know you guys are like, hey, you said this. You're like, I'm 60 feet away from half the game. What would you like me to do? You know what I mean? But then I watch the game and I feel like, man, I argued this call and argued this call. Man, I'm not even close. you know, so you have a lot of that. So you gotta be honest with yourself when things like, that's what I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna be honest with myself so I can get better, so we can get better. Thank you.